The next topic, I want to bring up is Utopia attainable? And at what cost would that be attainable? I think that's kind of like a good thing to spin to. So I want to start with you, Gums, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, fuck no, it's not. No possible way. If you're gonna tell me that nothing can ever be perfect, keep working at it, right? Like old sports cliche, like you'll never be perfect. Practice doesn't make perfect, right? Practice makes consistent or some shit like that, right? Like I don't think we'll ever have a utopia, and a utopia is just like a perfect world, basically. For me, I think what like personally is stopping a utopia right now is like cancel culture. like I really have this grudge against cancel culture. Like I really fuck with them in the way of like, hey, we should be getting better from the things that cancel culture finds out. But the fact that we're just fucking erasing people off the face of the earth with this shit blows my mind. And so I'm like, you'll never have a utopia where you do more things to hide these things rather than fix these things. Mm-hmm. And so they really didn't fix it. What they did is just deleted that motherfucker. And then I didn't see anything else about like the long-term fixes. So in my opinion, no, nothing will ever be a utopia. And if it is, you're caught in some fucking anime protagonist jutsu, or you got like you're in the fucking Matrix where you're plugged up. And even then they didn't have a utopia because they needed your energy from the negative brain cells. Like, I'm just saying no. So that's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Pat?
I'm with Gums. I don't see it being a possibility whatsoever. But I'll also say too, I don't think we want it. I think a utopia in and of itself is not a thing to want to attain to in and of itself. I don't agree with the concept that good can exist without bad. Like I don't think, because I think it exists in this common, like the concept of being happy understands itself because you understand what being sad is. Like I don't think it makes sense to want a utopian society, because I think it strips a lot of who you are as an individual. And I think you even see that in like, as we're kind of circling back on these like movies and TV shows and stuff like that. You watch things like Black Mirror, or you see things like even like iRobot and stuff like that are like almost all of those shows and movies and those concepts and stuff. They introduce the world as utopia, typically speaking. Like it's usually the first couple chapters are supposed to paint this as like, this place is great, like, this is awesome, like you should
Hogwarts.
want to be here. Like you should always want, like that's usually how it's painted, is like, this place is great, and then about 30 minutes in you're like, what the hell is happening here? Like, so it's usually Voldemort. Like that. You're like, wait, what the hell, there's this evil dude? Or like, what do you mean the robots aren't chill? Like, it's like so I think it's just one of those things. Like, I think it's illogical to want it. I think it's unattainable. I just don't think it makes sense to want to live in a utopia.
In fact, I think that's where most of the villain plot comes from in most movies and in literature. Is like the trying to obtain some type of utopia, and this is where the villains goes off the fucking rail and starts murdering people for it. The only time I want a utopia is if there's like only like 100 or like 1,000 humans left. And then it seems obtainable, because it's like 1,000 of us could all agree on some shit and just be fine. So you know, like
be stoked on it.
Yeah. Once you get past those numbers, it doesn't even matter no more.
But before you continue on, there is a movie that is legit just like what you described. Have you guys seen The Island?
Yeah.
I have not. No.
So it's basically like they all are in this like utopia, but they like I forgot the full premise of it, but it's like they all are shown like this island, this like happy place that everybody can go to. But then it's just like, I feel like this is going to spoil it. So if you haven't seen the movie, I'm not going to say anything because that'll just spoil it for you guys, actually. But like, it's like, watch the movie. It's basically exactly what you said.
Yeah. There's like a cost for that perfection, right?
There is a cost.
There's a cost for it.
Very much
like,
so.
Hey, come do it. By the way, we're gonna fucking murder your family, but you'll be good. Utopia, So
yeah,
utopia sounds like pudding, So it's great.
Sounds like pudding.
There you go. Well, to the points that you guys made, like, no, I don't really think utopia is attainable, and I don't think we really should reach for it, because as stated, like, there needs to be a balance. You can't really feel joy without feeling sadness. Like they coexist together, and without one you can't have the other. Like the utopia that people would search for would be just like this dull nothing where nobody feels anything and nothing ever happens because, you know, that it could go against somebody's beliefs, it could offend somebody. And you know, I'm about to get real Hufflepuff, so I'm taking this one for you, Pat.
I'm in. Let's go.
But like, so utopia is really not attainable, at least not in a conventional sense. Like everyone's idea of a utopia is different. So like it can't really be built off of opposing ideas. And the only way I think a utopia could really come about would have to be with the individual. It would have to be in a world where people accept themselves for who they are, and they accept the people around them for who they are. Like with me, like I've said this to many people over the course of my lifetime. Like I don't care about your race, your gender orientation, like your sexual orientation, your background, your religion, whatever. Like if you're cool with me, I'm cool with you. That's just, you know, something that I've strived to live by since I was young. And you know, that would be the only way I could see we could reach some sort of semblance of a utopia. It really starts with the individual, and then it radiates out to the people around you. What like that's the only way we're getting there, and that's not going to be for everybody, because there are those people that are inherently just pissed off at the world and they're going to hate you for whatever reason. That's their own fault. That's their own world that they're living in. So, and
that's what makes like the shows like The Giver or Aaron Rodgers is dating. Who's Aaron Rodgers dating right now?
Shailene Woodley.
Shailene Woodley. And what did she play in? A dystopian future movie. It was very widely acclaimed as a teenager flick.
I know what you're talking about. Maze Runner, right?
No. So basically, it was just a dystopian future where nobody had individuality anymore. And so it's just one of those things where I always think that that's what's so awesome about those types of dystopian movies, is because like inherently at first we all think it's so perfect and we want that. And then they start showing those ugly scars. And then we're like, nah, fuck that. And then we're like kind of rise against the machine. And I just really think that like that's very empowering. And it's like a very it's a trope that keeps this Divergent series, by the way.
Oh yeah.
But it keeps us like kind of going and stuff like that. So like these conversations, while we're having it on an entertainment podcast, it actually relates to like human nature. And these movies that we watch of dystopia hit on these string chords of morality for us as humans. And this is kind of why these relate so heavily to our everyday lives, and why we fucking enjoy these movies so much, is because we might be going through it. And this is like a good answer, a good thought process or experiment to like figure out what's what for us personally.
Yeah. So, it really hits. It kind of connects back to like a lot of our real lives.
Seeing, you know, these movies and like these characters like kind of rising up against like whatever it is that is, you know, keeping them in this dystopian, you know, mindset, be it the government, like whatever. It's just very cathartic for people, because they see like elements of this in the world around them and they can't do anything about it, or they feel like they can't do anything about it. So, you know, seeing it in that medium, like it can just be very cathartic for people.
I was gonna say it hits so hard with like the preteen. Why you see this so involved in the preteen genre or like the teenager genre is because we have fucking parents, and so all these teens are just like, "Oh man, fight the machine." Those are our parents telling us what to do. That's why all these kids are like young when these movies are coming out. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're like, "Oh yeah." So something to think about.
Yeah. I think you guys all hit the nail on the head there. I don't think it's attainable either, and I don't think we would want it. But I think, you know, everyone's so divided these days. I think it would be hard to get to one common goal at this point. So,
except for to like and subscribe to this podcast.
Exactly. That's one thing y'all need to do.
Catch us out on your socials. Shameless plug. Let's go.
How about that?